You ever click add to cart on an office chair that looks like a sleek, futuristic throne in the pictures, only to end up with something that feels like a stiff bench after a few hours at the desk? I've been there spending a Saturday scrolling through endless listings, trying to decipher which promise of all-day comfort actually survives the grind of back-to-back meetings, spreadsheet marathons, and the occasional Zoom call slump. The fear of wasting money on a chair that looks great online but turns into a daily disappointment is real, and it's what drove me to dig deeper before hitting purchase. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Steelcase gesture isn't just another name on a glossy catalog, it's the result of a decade of ergonomic research aimed at people who move a lot while they work. That means it's built for more than the occasional sit-down. If you spend 8 or more hours at a desk, if you switch between typing, sketching, and leaning into a phone, the gesture tries to keep up with you instead of forcing you to adapt to it. Let's walk through why that matters in a typical home office and where the chair can both shine and stumble. First, the adjustability. The seat depth slider lets you move the cushion forward or back in about a half-inch increment. In practice, that little shift can be a game-changer for someone with longer legs who usually feels cramped on a standard chair. I tried it while wearing my usual working-from-home jeans, and the extra reach meant my knees weren't jammed under the seat edge, reducing that familiar pressure behind the shin. The arms are another story. They aren't just height adjustable, they pivot and swivel in 3 directions, which is useful if you drift between a laptop, a drafting table, and a second monitor. For a graphic designer who alternates between mouse-heavy tasks and tablet drawing, the ability to slide the arm pads outward without losing support saved a lot of shoulder tension. Now, the back. The gesture's synchrony mechanism lets the backrest and seat move together as you lean forward or recline. In a real-world scenario, that means when you're leaning into a long email thread, the seat cushion subtly slides forward, keeping your hips aligned with the backrest. I tested this while reviewing a stack of printed reports on my kitchen table. The chair's motion felt fluid, not jerky, and I didn't feel the usual sliding forward that some budget chairs produce. That fluid motion is especially beneficial for people who switch between forward-leaning focus and a relaxed recline throughout the day. The fabric, marketed as Connect Lagoon, is 100% polyester. It's not the buttery leather you might imagine from a high-end office, but the weave is tight enough to hide minor spills and the texture stays soft after weeks of use. The real test came when I accidentally knocked over a coffee mug during a video call. The stain didn't set, and a quick wipe was enough. No discoloration, no odor. For anyone with a home office prone to coffee or snack accidents, that's a practical win. One area where the gesture stands out is durability. Steelcase backs the chair with a 12-year manufacturer warranty, and the frame is a polished aluminum base that feels solid without being industrially heavy. The casters are specifically designed for hard floors, so they roll smoothly on my laminate without the usual squeak or scuff. However, the same hard floor casters can be a drawback if you ever need to move the chair onto carpet or a rug. They tend to dig in a bit, making it harder to slide the chair without lifting. If you have a mixed-surface office, you might need to buy a separate set of carpet-friendly wheels. Who should consider the gesture? If you're a remote professional who spends at least 6 hours a day at a desk, if you have a variety of work postures, or if you've struggled with shoulder, neck, or lower back pain on a generic chair, the gesture's extensive adjustability and synchronized movement are worth the investment. It also makes sense for people who are particular about aesthetics. Its black frame with polished aluminum gives a modern, minimalist vibe that fits well in a sleek home office or a corporate meeting room. Who might skip it? First, anyone on a tight budget. The gesture sits in the premium price tier, and while the warranty and durability justify part of that cost, there are mid-range ergonomic chairs that cover basic adjustability at a lower price point. Second, if you work primarily standing or use a sit-stand desk and only sit for brief intervals, you probably don't need the full suite of adjustments. Finally, if you have a very small workspace where the chair's footprint and the need for hard floor casters could be limiting, a more compact model could be a better fit. On the downside, the assembly, while labeled ready to assemble, does require a decent amount of time and a few tools. The instructions assume a certain comfort level with mechanical parts, It's not the kind of pop-and-answer experience you get with a basic office chair. If you're not